We are live now. So a very good morning to our respected resource person for today, Professor Ramachandran sir. Professor K. Lata, Director of the Faculty Induction Orientation Program. Dr. Nirmala Samanta, Director of this FIP, my fellow colleagues and the dear participants. I welcome you all to the 18th day of this 1 month-long Faculty Induction Orientation Program. So today we have with us Professor Ramachandran, and Sir will be delivering a lecture on vocationalization of education. But before I request Sir to proceed, I would take this privilege to introduce him first to all of you. Professor Ramachandran is currently a senior advisor, Unit of International Cooperation, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, NIPA, New Delhi. He has been a member of the group set up for drafting the National Education Policy 2020. During the period 1990 to 2008, Sir worked with UNICEF as Senior Education Specialist, Senior Program Coordinator, and Deputy Country Representative. Prior to this, from the year 1975 to 1990, Sir was also a member of faculty of National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCRT, New Delhi. We welcome you, sir. I now request you to deliver the session. Over to you now.
Thank you. First of all, my apology to the participants since I could not get logged in last time. Thank you for joining once again. Now, I had sent some PPT slides. I hope you had a chance to go through it. In case you have gone through it, I would love to have many questions from you. Maybe I can begin with the 2-3 questions, then I can get into the topic. Anybody would like to raise hand and ask a question?
Not a question, sir, just a comment that there were 72 slides. So
Yes.
it took some time to go through it, but it was a very comprehensive way of introducing what vocalization would mean, and in terms of what vocalization of education as to what is going on now, how the two can be synchronized. It had a lot of definitions and a lot of very, very interesting information. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Vocationalization.
Yeah, vocation. Yeah.
Thank you. Last time when I was talking to a group, I began with an example from industrial and organizational psychology. I repeat that here because it's a different group. The example goes something like this. Once in the United States of America, in a company, a machine went out of order. The chief executive officer of the company requested 20 engineers to come and have a look at it. They had a look at it. They could not find out the problem. Then came an ordinary mechanic, did not have a degree. He asked the CEO, "Sir, may I have a look at the machine?" He had a look for about 10 minutes. With his hand, he tapped the machine at a number of places. Then he asked the CEO, "Sir, may I have a hammer?" Hammer to hit. He was given a hammer. Then he hit the machine 3 times at 3 places. The machine started functioning. He went back and sent a bill of $1,000. The CEO asked him, "For hitting 3 times, you are asking $1,000. That's too much." He replied, "Sir, for hitting 3 times, I asked only $30, $10 per hit. But to find out what to hit, I charged $970. That means what to hit is more important than actually hitting. Diagnostic ability to solve a real life problem. There is a feeling in vocational education in India. We produce a large number of graduates who can hit, who know how to hit, but doesn't know where to hit. As a result of which, they are not capable of tackling a real life problem and setting a machine right. The current thinking in India is we want graduates who can not only hit, but also know where exactly to be hit. That is the thrust of vocationalization of education now in the country. I define in the slide. What do we mean by the term vocationalization? There are two words used: vocationalization of education. Then second is vocational education. What is the difference between these two terms? Vocationalization of education refers to integration of vocational education with general so-called academic education, with the aim of creating educated, employable, and competitive human resource for the various sectors of the economy. The word integrating vocational education with general education is very important. That means as part of the normal BA, BSc, a student can opt for a vocational program on apparel making or hospitality or tourism or automobile or construction. That program is taken as an integral part of the normal BA, BSc, BCom, and so on. That is what we call vocationalization of education. It means vocational education is a part of the program for vocationalization. But what now the national education policy now talks about is more of integration of vocational education as an integral part of normal undergraduate education, maybe in physics major, maybe in chemistry major. And the target we have is by 2035, 50% of undergraduate students in the country should be opting for a vocational education program. That means a skill to be performed, a skill to be demonstrated, and a competence to be demonstrated. I'll define this later. So the idea is that in all of your colleges, maybe from 2023-24 onwards, if possible, integrate vocational education as part of a multidisciplinary education. Why we need multidisciplinary? The policy talks about holistic education. Holistic education means development of human capability in all areas of development, such as intellectual development, that is cognitive development, aesthetic development, performing and visual art, physical development, participate in sports and wellness program, then social development. How do we relate with the people? how do we conduct ourselves in a group, and so on. Then emotional development. Then comes moral development, ethical development, and so on. All should be developed concurrently. That is not possible if we adopt only one discipline, like economics, vocation, and so on. We need multidisciplinary education. And as part of that multidisciplinary education, what we need is vocational education as an integral part of normal general education, like BA, BSc, BCom, and so on. No doubt, the existing Bachelor of Vocation will continue. But that is now implemented only in about less than 200 colleges. With that, we cannot enhance enrollment in vocational education program. Therefore, the policy suggested to reach 50% enrollment in vocational course, we need to integrate vocational education as a part of normal general education. You may have physics or economics or history as a major, but at the same time, you may take performing art as a minor, automobile engineering, an 18 credit program as a minor, a course on hospitality and tourism as a minor, a course on music as a minor. Why am I talking music and performing arts? They create aesthetic sensibility, but you can also use music as a profession, a professional musicologist, a professional singer. So that has an element of skill for that as well. Performing art. You can be a professional theater artist. In addition to enjoying theater, you can have a professional painter. You can be a professional dancer, and so on. So you find that every course has a skill, professional component to that. Be it art education, be it music education, be it automobile engineering, be it apparel making, be it in economics, to be an economist, in history, to be a historian, in physics, to be a physicist, to be a scientist, all have a professional vocational component. And therefore, in future, whether you have a major in physics or economics or chemistry or history or sociology or psychology, all of you have a skill component in it. It means every program now becomes a part of vocationalization of education. And as part of that, you have a vocational trade to be mastered, to come out of college, like Ramanujan College, as a skilled person. That is the current policy direction. That means in future, Ramanujan College would like to see 50% of all students take up a vocational program, maybe around 16 to 18 credits program, and come out of that college along with the psychology or environmental studies and so on, a vocational trade as well. It means we are now implementing vocationalization of education. The title of my program had subskills, made in India and startup. Who starts a startup? Normally we say an innovator, an entrepreneur, self-employed. I give an example of it. We have the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, a professional program. We have in Bangalore a university called Srishti Manipur. They offer design courses. Students come out of their course with appropriate graduate attributes. Then they directly enter into entrepreneurship. They don't look for wage employment. They look for self-employment. That is the idea of startup and a product made in India. That means the vocational education program you and I provide should promote the acquisition of workplace ready competencies, workplace ready or employment ready, not just theoretical but practical. Then it must be a basket of knowledge and skills to perform adequately in a defined job, to gain and maintain employment, and continue, and if need be, take new employment. That needs a basket of knowledge and skills. The next element is very important. To start a startup, entrepreneurial skills. What does that mean? You and I try to create or implement an innovation, an innovative idea for what? For enterprise creation. A new enterprise creation. That is what is called entrepreneurship. Then, if you cannot create a new enterprise, can you suggest a new product? Like you now have Apple iPhone 13. When they started, it was just simple Apple. 13 times they have improved the product. And this is an example of entrepreneurship. And like if you do that, it is made in India. Can we have a design of that? So this is the idea of entrepreneurship creation. And then it is improved product development. Then next comes, even if you don't produce, can we create a new organizational structure? That is also starting something new. So a startup sometimes doesn't mean you all create something new. You can, you should. But if you produce a new product, an improved product, that also is part of your entrepreneurial skills. That is what we want in every student. Startup made in India. Can we design something in India? Now, if you want to design, I had the privilege of asking the late Apple chairperson, Steve Jobs, how did you design Apple Macintosh? How could you do that? He gave me a nice answer. He said, I could do it because I had a team of computer engineers who are also good at many other aspects of life, like music, performing art, visual art, sports, and wellness, and so on. That means a multidisciplinary approach. They created the thinking for Apple Macintosh design, not just as being computer engineer. That is why we are talking that if you really want to be an entrepreneur, an innovator, a vocational specialist, you also need other subject areas, knowledge and competencies required to make in India and create a product that is made in India. So that is why we are talking not standalone vocational education program. In addition to that, many other disciplinary areas of study, subjects that promotes the entrepreneurship skills better, innovative ideas better. Unless you know what is in a music class, you may not be able to improve a guitar. Improving guitar as a product. How do you do it? How do you record, track music? Like olden days, a singer used to start singing from beginning till the end. Now that is not the case. If you see the music of A.R. Rahman, track is recorded somewhere else, and then he tries to join music with that. This is an innovation in music performance. So anything we do innovation leads to what we call self-employment or entrepreneurial job. I'll give an example. 2 years ago, I was in the School of Vocational Studies in Ambedkar University, Delhi. Students who were undergoing hospitality management program. It was a meeting of the academic council. They prepared excellent lunch, very tasty and very good. We all enjoyed the lunch. When I was going out, 4 of them came to me and asked, "Sir, could you kindly help us getting a job in a 5-star hotel?" I asked them, "Why do you want to join in a 5-star hotel as a wage employer? Your food was excellent. Why don't you start your own enterprise, a restaurant by yourself?" Reply came, "Sir, is it not too risky?" They were having entrepreneurial skills as a hospitality management training, but they did not have entrepreneurial mindset, taking risk, trying for a new product development. That is what, in fact, in Delhi, the Honorable Minister of Education keeps on telling that. Many have entrepreneurial skills, but don't have entrepreneurial mindset. Therefore, sometimes I say, certain vocational programs make a condition that you will not be put as part of placement. You will start a new enterprise. It means enterprise creation, a new product, like if it is in a restaurant, a new subject, and so on. They listened to me, and I was told two of them started a restaurant now and doing very well. All that I did was giving them what you call entrepreneurial mindset. I didn't give them the skill. Skill was given by the college. But the mindset is a motivational factor, and that was introduced into their life. So this is what we talk about vocationalization of education. That all our students pass out with vocational skill, and also as a part of that entrepreneurial skills through which you can have a startup and be truly a good entrepreneur. So that is the purpose of vocationalization of education. And many trades can be attempted. The trade can be use of digital and technological solutions for education, like the Media Lab is doing now. It can be highly skilled as a robotic designer. And the other idea is, the kind of students we now get are distinctly different. They are born and raised in a technology-rich environment. They will use technologies which don't exist now. They will enter new jobs which don't exist now. These are the kinds of students you and I will have now. Last time I gave the example of my 7-year-old granddaughter, highly tech savvy and very good at mobile technology. And when she came 2 years ago, when she was at the age of 5, I asked her a question. Where are you coming to? She's in the United States. She said, Grandpa, I'm coming to India. I said, which place in India? She said, that I don't know. Then my grandson gave her a clue. You are going to the capital city of India. The moment she got the capital city of India, she said, Grandpa, give me 15 seconds. Open her iPad, Google search, capital city of India, got New Delhi. She said, Grandpa, I'm coming to New Delhi. A tech-savvy child of 5 years. When she came to India, we were checking into the Taj Lanson Hotel in Bandra in Mumbai. As soon as she reached, the first question she asked the manager was, Uncle, what is the Wi-Fi code of this hotel? I said, why are you so fond of Wi-Fi code? He said, Grandpa, I want to talk to my friend in San Diego in the USA. If it is Wi-Fi, I don't have to pay for it. It's free FaceTime call. She was given the Wi-Fi code and she started talking on the video call. When she was in kindergarten first year, age of 5, I asked her a question. What is 10 plus 20 plus 30 equal to? She said, Grandpa, give me 5 seconds. Opened her iPad, pressed to 10, plus, pressed to 20, plus to 30. She said, Grandpa, answer is 30. 10 plus 20 plus 30, 60 is the answer. Glued to the iPad. Any addition, subtraction, division, I asked her, 5 seconds, open iPad and get it done. Then my son asked me, what kind of question should we ask her to solve a problem? I said, There is a river in San Diego, like river Yamuna in Delhi, or Kaveri in Karnataka and so on, or Ganges in Varanasi. On one side of the river, there is a village. And the village has a small population. 3 children from the school, that village, cross the river by a boat and go to school on the other side of the river. They have to cross the river using a boat. 3 children, one child weighs 10 units, other child weighs 20 units, other child weighs 30 units. So I asked her, what is the total weight? She used iPad and said, Grandpa, 60 units is the total weight. Then I asked her, this boat can carry 60 units. Can you go using this boat to the school? He said, yes, 60 the boat can take. So they came to school. While going back in the evening, a problem came. The boat, which can carry 60 units, had some problem. It capsized. Water entered. There was a boat which could take only 30 units of weight, not 60. More than 30, it means it will also capsize. I asked her a question. How can all 3 of you use this boat 30 units of weight and cross the river and go back home? Immediately reply came. She searched on the Google search. She said, Grandpa, Google doesn't give answer to this. So I had to do something. It means the Google Baba could not do that. I said, take your own time, find out how all 3 can cross the river and go home using the boat, which can carry only 30 units of weight. She took 50 minutes and came out with an answer. She said, I got answer. First, 10 and 20 will enter the boat and sail it to the next bank. First, 10 and 20 will go. 30 remains this side. Then I asked, how will 30 go? Grandpa, 10 will remain, 20 will go back with the boat. And 20 will remain there, and 30 will bring the boat back. It means third trip. Then how 20 will go back? He said 10 will bring the boat back, and then 20 will go. It means first 10 and 20 cross, then 20 comes back, 30 goes, 10 comes back, 10 and 20 go. She got the answer. Took 50 minutes. And this is what we call problem solving. So in terms of vocationalized education, the example I gave you in the beginning, hitting the machine, that was a problem solving example. Then what did I do with my granddaughter? 3 weeks later, I asked the question again, same question. She answered in 5 seconds. I asked her, on that day you took 50 minutes. Today, in 15 seconds you answer. She said, Grandpa, on that day, what you told, it is in my memory. Today I am producing the answer out of my memory, rote learning. There is no problem solving today. This shows if you give a problem solving skills to a student, once it is given, second time, don't repeat that. if you repeat, that problem solving becomes a symbol recall item. This is a challenge you and I have as faculty members. Never repeat a question if you want to test the competence of a student. That is a scenario you and I have it. That is why we want a multidisciplinary education. I think last time I example of what do we mean by monodisciplinary, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary learning. I get example used by Park and Cho in an article long back. They said monodisciplinary is like you are eating a piece of carrot, just one item, and you enjoy the taste of that. Multidisciplinary means it is like a salad, eating a salad. In a salad, you can see cucumber separately, tomato separately, capsicum separately, and so on. But together, they make what you call a salad. Even though cucumber exists as separate cucumber, you can pick it and eat. This is what you call multidisciplinary. If you learn chemistry, physics, and vocational trade, hospitality, and all, they will keep their disciplinary boundaries. You will learn something of chemistry. You will use chemistry to do chemical analysis in a problem. You will use physics, Ohm's law, to make connections in a vocation of electrician. But Ohm's law remains separately, but you use it. And then you use the electrician's trade as a vocational trade, all joined together like a salad and make a vocational program. That is multidisciplinary. Interdisciplinary, Park and Joke is a nice example. It is like a stew. Now, when you want to eat chapati or dosha, we make stew. In the stew, you can separate the ingredients. The coriander is there, the pepper is there, and so on. You can't distinguish them, but you can taste it. Integrated into the dish. That is what we call interdisciplinary learning. Transdisciplinary is higher than that. They say it is like a cake. When you eat cake, everything is integrated into it. Maybe the sugar or egg, whatever it may be. You can't distinguish between different ingredients of a cake. So, in a vocationalization of education program, we may think of single discipline study. We may have to have multidisciplinary. As I indicated, if you want to be an electrical engineer, you need to know a lot of electricity in physics. You need to know about conductors and non-conductors of electricity and many other things. And also putting a fuse on, changing fuse, that way it becomes multidisciplinary. You need to talk about battery, in fact. Then you talk about chemistry, but you can make a battery and use it. So that is the reason the multidisciplinary part comes. And quite often, a problem doesn't exist as monodisciplinary. It is quite often interdisciplinary. Something you take from electricity, something you take from mechanics, something you take from chemistry, something you may take from agriculture, and then also agriculture as a vocation, about seeds, manure, all of this study. Then you become an agriculture specialist, which has which is an interdisciplinary aspect. You may have to learn about agricultural sociology, agricultural economics, rural sociology, and so on. That helps you become a good agriculture scientist, take up a vocation. So that is the reason the national education policy talks about integrating vocational education as a part of general degree programs so that the student gets a multidisciplinary exposure and he or she becomes skilled to do a task, skilled to accomplish a task. And that is the scenario we are talking about it. So that then you can do what you call made in India product. You can create a startup because it needs a multidisciplinary learning, a multidisciplinary exposure. So policy says you may have a major in physics, a minor in economics, another minor in hospitality management, maybe another minor in music or sports or performing art. Then you become multidisciplinary. That is the idea in terms of vocationalization education also. Our ambition is by 2030, if possible, 50% of students taking up undergraduate program should join a vocational education program. In addition to knowledge, skills, competencies, application related to a subject area like physics, he or she is also able to create a product, improve a product, create an enterprise so that person can become one who can have a startup, one who can start an enterprise, one who can be self-employed, and so on. That is the spirit of vocationalization of education. For some time, I'll stop at this stage. I would like to have questions from you. You can ask any question you want. Begin with any question you would like to ask. Yes, Nidhi, you can throw it open. Any question they want.
Yeah, Nidhi, you may ask them to raise hands or write on the chat box or on
Yes.
the YouTube.
Yes, ma'am. So participants, you can raise your hands and we will unmute you and then you can directly interact with sir. Or participants who are joining via YouTube can write their queries in the chat box and we will take your queries one by one.
Nidhi, if I may ask, sir, a question.
Yes, sure.
Can you hear me?
Sure,
Can you
sure.
hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for a very interesting, thought-provoking, exposition on what vocational and vocalization would mean in education. and specifically focusing on NEP. So my question to you is, so we are all teachers who are teaching in various colleges and universities. And for us, our main platform is the classroom where we teach. Most of us are trained in a way to teach one subject, which is the subject which I've learned, my graduation, my post graduation, my MA, MPhil, PhD. Now, I have a set of students who could be, multi dimensional in their ways of looking at things. Even in, say, I teach English literature. Now, so how do I find out who are my students with varied interests? Number one. And number two, what do I do when I find out that there is a student with interest which actually I don't know much about? Then what do I do with that student in my classroom? I mean, I'm raising a problem which will happen in pedagogical situation in an immediate situation. So, and also, yes, the student, I can always say, can you go and attend a online MOOCs class on the subject that you're interested? But that is not really involving me in any way into the student's life who is going to stay with me for the next 3 years doing an English honors course or any other subject. So I would like you to comment about this disparity or this gap, which I evidently feel, which is present at the moment in classrooms.
Thank you. The first answer to the question is, you and I being a teacher, we all have our own knowledge creation method. This happened to me 2 years ago in Patna. Like the PowerPoint slides I had sent them 3 weeks ago. I thought I'll go and have discussion on that. When I reached class, they told me, sir, we went through your PowerPoint, we have learned that. Today, you can test us 10 minutes and go for a new lesson. And I did not think of a new lesson at that time. That means I went with what you call my routine task with a prepared lesson. For me, I told them, friends, very good what you have done. I asked 5 questions, they answered everything. Then I said, I need 5 minutes to recoup my mental process to teach you what you want. And I took the 5 minutes, I managed to deliver. This is what we call non-routine task of a teacher. You and I are used to scripted lesson plans, and then we think we must go and deliver. In future, you will face the same scenario which I faced. They want a different lesson. We must have more breadth of knowledge. And that is how, I survived. For instance, my first degree was Bachelor of Science Education with a physics and chemistry as major, with a mathematics and biology as minor. And I had 3 vocational programs. Even though I was student of science, I had 3 hours of woodwork every week, 3 hours of lathe work, mechanical engineering every week, 3 hours of electrical engineering. That made me slightly different from the usual thing. And today, when power supply goes into my house due to some electrical problem, I can find out myself what is the problem, how do I change the fuse, or thanks to that multidisciplinary exposure I had. I also had a thorough grounding in English language and literature. And since you are part of that, sometimes, there are techniques of delivery in that as well. I give my own experience. I was born in the state of Kerala. I completed my pre-university education in Kerala. I came to Mysore, the Regional College of Education, Mysore. My English was not that refined. Not bad, but not refined. I had a professor from Oxford to teach our English language and literature course. He had a pedagogy, correct on the spot when the student make a mistake. One day I reached 30 seconds late to his class. At the door, I asked Professor Brown, he was from Oxford in UK, Professor Brown, can I come in please? Professor Brown replied, Ramachandran, you can, but you may not. I didn't get what he said. And my colleagues are laughing at me. I thought I made a mistake in my tense. I corrected, I said, Professor Brown, could I come in, please? Reply came, you could, but you might not. Then I related, you can, you may not, you could, you might not. The may and might relationship. Then I realized seeking permission is can I or could I? Seeking permission is may I come in? So I asked Professor Brown, may I come in, please? Answer came, please do come in. Look at it's a pedagogy of teaching on the spot, correction, and that became a learning episode in my life. If I call over the phone, Professor Lata or Niti, I will not say, can I speak to Niti? I'll say, may I speak to Niti? That learning episode. So therefore, multidisciplinary approach helps. That what I learned in that class was English literature, but at the same time, the point you made, how do I handle diverse students? I have made a lot of mistakes in my life while teaching diverse groups of students. I'll give an example to concretize that. When I joined NCERT, the first assignment I had was writing a script for a video program to be telecast through what we call satellite instructional television experiment in 1975. I was a trained script writer, a media person. In addition to my general education, science education, and so on. Then I thought to prepare, to explain the students how malaria is carried by mosquitoes. I thought I must take close-up of a mosquito or many mosquitoes. When you take close-up, you see mosquitoes very big. You can show how they sit. Do they sit parallel to the ground, angled to the ground, and so on? I explained all those details. At the end of the lesson, the impact of my lesson or effectiveness was tested by asking question. What steps would you take to prevent malaria? I took this program to Delhi Public School and showed it to students in grade 8. I got the right answer, how to prevent malaria. Everything went off well. So I thought I did a good job as a script writer. I took this program to Sambalpur in Odisha. Students of class 10, I showed this, a remote area. They watched the film program. I asked the question, same question, what steps would you take to prevent malaria? 3 children got up and said, sir, we will never get malaria. We don't need to take any precaution. I said, why we don't get malaria? Sir, we have only very small mosquitoes here.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the close-up of mosquitoes, huge. They thought they are the ones who carry malaria and not these small mosquitoes. Why this happened? I made a mistake as a script writer. I should have focused on a small mosquito, then gradually zoomed onto the mosquito. The small mosquito becomes gradually bigger and bigger. Then freeze it, explain the different parts and aspects of mosquito. Then after explaining, I should zoom out this big mosquito, close up, slowly, and bring back the same old mosquito, small mosquito. I did not do that, so my lesson collapsed. I did that and went back to a different group in Sambalpur and Raipur. Worked very well. A slight mistake as a teacher, you see how it makes your lesson fail, whether you are an English language teacher. Now, therefore, we are dealing with this is what the term we used. This is the way we honor diversity in the classroom. I am using the word honor, not address, not manage. Diversity is an honor. Some students want to learn something different. If you and I are not prepared, no harm in telling, let's discuss this tomorrow, I'll come back. I'll refer to this and come back. No harm. You also give reference to the child. And next day, early morning, spend 30 minutes to a child, that group. Then you also get updated, and then the student also becomes very happy. It is not necessary if you don't know something, variety, we need to find on the spot solution. You can always say, we'll come back. A number of times I do that, and students love it, that I don't bluff. I want to study overnight, and internet they also go through, and next day the problem is solved, not only for him, the entire classes. This is the scenario. Now, when I was in Patna, there's a huge conferences of vice chancellors and principals. A complaint came, the attendance rate in the class is less than 5%. They don't come to classes. What is the solution? I told them, no solution now, tomorrow, 10:30, I will give you the solution. Next early morning, I went to Patna Science College and Darbhanga building, Humanities, Social Science. Asked students, why you don't go to classes regularly? Shark in the reply, sir, we have access to internet, latest information, we can learn from that. Our professors have a notebook prepared 10 years ago, talking old things. Many things have changed. So we feel it's a waste. Though we go out of the class and go to the coaching class just opposite, learn the latest thing. So I came back and told teacher, the problem is that some of you are not on contemporary situation. Upgrade ourselves. So what? Faculty development program. The kind of thing you taught. Policy talks about it. Don't try to implement that unless the entire faculty are oriented to a multidisciplinary approach to education. If necessary, make them go through what you call bridge courses and programs. Then introduce the 4-year multidisciplinary undergraduate program, which may have multiple entry and re-entry points and exit points. They may leave after 1 year with a certificate of undergraduate education They may leave after 2 years of study with a diploma in undergraduate education. They may leave after 3 years with a bachelor degree in education, multidisciplinary education, with a vocational program and general education program. They may leave after 4 years with a bachelor honors with a research degree. Research, very important. Policy provides this flexibility. And therefore, you are right. We need to honor student diversity. And therefore, a multidisciplinary education also needs reorientation of faculty to make them have an approach to multidisciplinary education and see how best we can do it. But for that, all of us need reorientation, continuous faculty development program, and so on. You know, the way students think, you can't believe. During my posting in China, I worked in China for 6 years. I used to go to schools very often, colleges very often, to give lecture. One day when I went, they were learning English language, making words A for apple, A for ant, A for and so on. B for bat, B for bus, B for boy, M for mother, and so on. It was first year of degree program, not small children. After sitting there 10 minutes, I went and wrote on the whiteboard the alphabet M. M, M for Madras or M for mango. I asked a boy called Chang, what is this? Chang looked at it and said, in a typical communist form, they said, sir, M for mother, with the fist on, M for mother. 3 times he said that. I said, very good. Then, I don't know how it happened, I went and wrote the alphabet W, side by side. I asked a girl called Lee, what is this? Lee looked at it very carefully for a minute and said, sir, in Chinese she spoke, I could follow that. Sir, it looks like Chang's mother, but she's upside down. See the relation between M and W. M is mother, W is upside mother. I never thought, I could get an answer like that. Amazing way of teaching. Then I asked, how did you teach alphabets to these students? To my surprise, I found the first alphabet taught to the students in that classroom was not A, it was O. I said, why O? Sir, see, it's a tribal area. Most women students wear bangles. The teacher asked the students, can you draw the picture of your bangle? They drew it like a circle. And then the teacher said, what you have now prepared is O alphabet in English using a bangle. Then she said, let us play with this bangle. If I break on the right side, what does that become? Students said, sir, it becomes C. From O to C, next alphabet was C taught, not A. Then they said, if I draw a line from the top to the broken bangle, it becomes D. The first 3 alphabet, O, C, D. And if I take it reverse, downward an arrow, then it becomes G. If I reverse that thing, it becomes Q. This is how they were taught, and not A, B, C, D, E. Once they learned the alphabets using the bangle and so on, then they were asked to sequence it. Now look at, I never thought I can teach English alphabets using a bangle. Very innovative approach. That is what we need. That how can we teach in an innovative manner, variety of things to diverse groups of students, both vocational and other areas. As I indicated, every subject is now vocational. Not just technical competence, every subject has a competence to be employment ready, be it history. Historical analysis is a competence. To be a historian, it's a profession. To be an economist is a profession. To analyze budget presentation of Government of India, a skill, a competence. So it is also a professional vocational skill. So that is what we should try in our vocationalization of education program. Thank you for asking this question. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
There's a question on YouTube, Nidhi.
Yes, ma'am. So, sir, there's a question from Dr. Gautam, and he wants to ask, Sir, why should we focus on multidisciplinary instead of core discipline? Does multidisciplinary not hamper our core discipline?
Thank you very much. I think good question. Look at the CEOs of the top 10 companies in the world, like Dell Computers, JP Morgan Chase, and so on. You will find most of the current chief executive officers of these companies are all multidisciplinary person. They learned engineering, but along with that, they learned economics, social studies, sociology. That enhance the breadth of their knowledge. A single discipline learning gives you the depth in a particular area. And I can tell you, a single disciplinary knowledge in future will be taken over by machines, machine learning, robots. A multidisciplinary job may not be easy to be taken over by a robot. And a multidisciplinary approach gives you a bigger breadth of knowledge, and no problem in the world is monodisciplinary. Most of them are multidisciplinary world, and therefore multidisciplinary problems need multidisciplinary approach. It means your breadth of knowledge enhances in addition to your depth of knowledge in a particular area. As Steve Jobs indicated, a good computer engineering with musical ability help them think creatively, let them think critically, and so on. Like you ask your student in the classroom, can you draw the logo of your college? There may be a logo already, but if you have 50 students in your classroom, you will get 50 logos, depending upon their creative thinking. No single answer. That is the advantage of multidisciplinary education. In future, most problems in the world would be multidisciplinary. Science is expanding very fast. Technology application is becoming very fast. And therefore, to meet the challenges of what is now called Industry 4.0 or the fourth industrial revolution, we need not only depth, but also breadth of knowledge, variety of subjects. And that is provided through a multidisciplinary approach to education, multidisciplinary exposure. That is the idea of it. It is a futuristic education to make you prepare for Industry 4.0. I hope all of you know what was Industry 1. The first, the first industrial revolution was, as you know, 1789, invention of steam engine. That changed the whole work process, the whole product orientation. That was first industrial revolution. Steam engine is a physics phenomenon. Second, 1873, Thomas Alva Edison, invention of electricity and bulb. The electricity changed the whole work process again. Simpler. That is why when Russian Revolution came up, they said if you want to make your country progress, have electricity in every village. Russia went for that. They progressed. Third industrial revolution came in 1969 when we had personal computers. That changed the whole scenario of work. Data analysis became much faster. Then came recently the fourth industrial revolution, the artificial intelligence, 3D printing, Internet of Things, drones, robots, and so on. So, to prepare you for that, again, a multidisciplinary learning is very useful. That is the reason we are talking about a multidisciplinary exposure to every student to have both breadth and depth of knowledge in a given area. That is why a multidisciplinary exposed person is better than this. Like, I feel myself, I'm answering your question because I had a fantastic multidisciplinary undergraduate education and proficient in physics, maths, biology, chemistry, economics, English language and literature, work experience, and so on. And I quite often tell about myself. I became what I had become because of that multidisciplinary education and not a single disciplinary education. I'm not telling single discipline is not useful. One needs depth. But in addition to depth, you and I also need the the breadth. And we must have a breadth of knowledge. Thank you very much for asking this question. Otherwise, I would have missed it. Very good. Any more question, Nidhi?
No, sir, there aren't any questions for you as of now.
Sir,
Okay.
I would like to ask you something, sir. So may I?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, thank you very much, sir, for such an interesting and, you have talked about all the basic as well as, the complexities involved in this kind of education. And so one thing that I want to point out is when we introduced vocational courses in Ramanujan College, this was in 2016. And we did have, a lot of demand for this course because we had to prepare merit list and then we had to take in the students. But at the same time, sir, and vocationalization as well as, in the case of multidisciplinary kind of teaching, the administrative problems are involved there. Sometimes we do not have the correct guidelines coming at the right time. And sometimes it is because, suppose we give them 5 options and to choose from, we also need that kind of faculty, specialized faculty in 5 different disciplines. and the students opting for one of the options may be popular. You may have around say 30-40 students in that option, but certain options we end up having only 4 or 5. This is a typical administrative problem, but then we do face such issues. So do you have any solution for such issues, sir?
One solution is to provide an option to make it academically feasible and economically viable. We may need about 6 to 8 students for any group. If you do not have faculty for this vocational program, there is a provision you can have adjunct or short-term faculty from industry, from areas of that. Like for instance, the Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai, run a series of vocational programs, but they have in their faculty pool 168 people drawn from industry and other areas. They are not full-time faculty. I think they are paid perhaps 2,500 rupees per lecture or something, or practical. And the pool of faculty got enhanced through this process. But you need what you call a core faculty. Say, to do any program, certain number of core faculty, then you can supplement that with some adjunct faculty who are part and parcel, some visiting faculty, and some short-term faculty giving lectures who need not have this PhD and so on. They are very well versed in the trade. Like if you offer hospitality program, the best person is the hotel manager. He may not have big degree and so on, but he knows how to entertain customers, how to do the market survey, what period is the peak time, what room charge should be fixed, flexible, what can be done at the lowest level, what is the no profit, no loss level, and so on. That person is the thing. Now I can see it is multidisciplinary. When I say, what is the charge? I am getting into economics, financing. Then how do you handle customers? The very term when somebody comes to hotel, may I help you, sir? May I help you, madam? That nice word, English language. And may I help you, madam? So, and then never use the word must and should. Sir, do you think this room will be okay with you? Or do you need slightly an upgraded version? These are the skills required by a person trained in hospitality. Compared to a faculty trained in very well, a hotel manager will be able to do much better. She can be invited or he can be invited to talk to students. So when you expand your pool of trades in vocational field, this can be attempted. The challenge for you, Professor Lata, would be now, I think, can you expand your vocational education program to your general education program as well? You have a few degree programs. Gradually, can you fix a target? By 2030, 50% of these students will opt for a vocational program offered by you. Then you contribute to not only vocationalization of education, but also creating a pool of skilled human resources with breadth in an area. So one solution to this would be, you may not be able to have full-time faculty in all. We may have to look into well-trained, well-equipped, short-term resource persons from market, who according to UGC can be paid, I believe, about 2,500 rupees for a lecture and so on. So that plan you have to prepare. One plan, how do I diversify my programs? Second plan, how do I integrate vocational program into the general program to implement vocationalization of education. I think that is the approach the college may have to take in a steady, slow and steady manner. Something you start next year, something maybe 2025, something maybe 2028. You prepare what is termed as institutional development plan. So my suggestion to you would be, can Ramanujan College prepare a 10-year institutional plan for the period 2021-22 to 2029-30 and have a phased approach to vocationalization of undergraduate education in your college? Thank you for asking this question. That's a very practical question. Very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We are doing the pooling of resource persons already. But then the only thing is, in certain cases, we need some kind of other support also from the teachers. That becomes an issue because the resource persons who are not engaged with us full time or as a regular guest faculty, then they are not available to us other than the lecture period, for other work. So we are, trying to create that kind of a balance where we can have resource persons and some guest faculty and some faculties on ad hoc basis. And we are trying to do this. But of course, like you have mentioned about, vocationalization integration with other courses, that will be really very challenging, yes, for us. But of course, it is possible. I'm not saying it is not possible, but yes, it is. It will be very challenging.
There is one more way of doing it. Like for instance, the Ambedkar University, Delhi, has an appointment process. We call it concurrent appointment. When they recruit a person, they are recruited to the university. And the university would say, based on your experience, can you teach the master's program, say, development studies, and can you also teach economics in the undergraduate program? A faculty member teaches 2 programs. Similarly, can we say somebody teaches in one program, they also teach a vocational program if they have that expertise. So one way of trying to solve this problem will be what we call concurrent appointments as well. So you have core full-time appointment, you have concurrent appointment, a person teaching in more than 2 programs, you have visiting professors, you have visiting resource persons, and so on. But that needs a plan. How do we do it? The concurrent appointee should be with you in the planning, design of this vocational program as well. He or she becomes a part and parcel of the entire programmatic intervention you and I make in this. Good. That is one of the ways you can also solve it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. When we want to expand, when we plan to expand our vocational courses, we will invite you, sir. Maybe we can benefit from your, your experience and the advice that you give us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had a question, sir. If I may.
Yeah, someone has a question.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So, sir, this is in continuation to ma'am's question. So many students opt for these courses, and time and again, these students certainly do come up to us and they tell us that, ma'am, these courses are not at par with the other bachelor degree programs. And not only that, they also tell us that, ma'am, since these courses are new, so they are not widely recognized in the industry. So once and twice we try to empathize with them and tell them that, the government is doing their efforts. We as an institution also are putting in our best efforts to make it widely recognized. So can you tell us certain solutions so that we as an institution can make this more widely acceptable, so that students do not face any problems at the time of getting internships or placements when they are passing out from their batches?
Thank you, Nidhi. Good question. It is a well-known fact. Quite often, vocational education programs are seen as not that high level of other program. Why this happens? Those days, the very admission process is to say, students who cannot go to academic program give a chance through vocational. Very wrong policy. In fact, I am one of those who pleads to the UGC now, please don't call the program Be Woke. I want them to call BSc Apparel Making, BSc Automobile, rather than calling Be Woke. The moment the word woke comes, they say, oh, this is not equivalent to science. This is why we want vocationalization program and not pure standalone vocational program. The prestige goes up by doing this. Like BVOC program, as Professor Lata knows, 180 credits, too much. I am part of the UGC committee on that. We are trying to reduce that to 120 credits, not 180. And along with the general education. Now, you made a point, Nidhi, good. Industries don't prefer. Let me tell you the reason for that. Industries value the skill orientation of that rather than NSQF. They think the National Skills Qualification Framework is too generic, whereas the skill part by the Skill Trade Group, NSDC, and so on is much more practical. So they prefer, I find, NSDC one rather than NSQF. So that's why now we are trying to prepare a national higher education qualification framework. We have drafted that. I was part of the team. That gives credibility to both skills related to a choice of area of learning, a vocation, or professional practice, equivalent status. That you say, I am level 7, level 8, and so on. So one way of that is, one is make it more multidisciplinary, other is make it more intensive to create a skill. And as I told you, there are findings to become skill. Maximum 18 credits are enough. Like there are even 4 credit program. Like if you want to be a storekeeper, they say 4 credits enough. But if you want to be an ICT specialist, a minimum of 18 credits required. So therefore, give vocations which need adequate credits, equivalent, make it more vocationalization, so that the BSc physics will have vocational apparel making, vocational ICT course run, and so on. That will enhance the stature of vocational programs in all. It is an integral part of the 4-year undergraduate program. And gradually I am pushing to avoid this term BVO. I say, let it be Bachelor of Science, in bracket, electronics. Bachelor of Science, in bracket, hospitality management. It's a degree program. So we don't need to say you are BVOC, you are BSc. That is what is creating this discrimination. So the policy is very much aware of that. And that's why the policy said 50% of students at the undergraduate level should have a vocational trade as an integral part of enhancing the breadth of students. So in future, this dichotomy will go, the low stature will go, it will be as good as any other program. For that, we need to pursue more and more vocationalization path and not just stand-alone vocational education program. Thank you for raising this question. Very good.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? I forgot to tell one thing. We use two words, skilling, skill development, reskilling. This is the buzzword in India now. Then quite often we say, what do we mean by the term skill? I try to define in my slide. A skill means the relevant knowledge and experience needed to perform a specific task or job or the product of education. This is important. Skill means something required to do a job, to accomplish a task. That is the word skill. The skills and competencies are used sometimes interchangeably. That's not correct. Competencies generally refer to not just skills, but also the knowledge, attitude, and mindset, and the soft skills associated with various fields of learning, work, or occupation, or vocation, or an area of professional practice, like complex problem solving, critical thinking, creative thinking, working in a team, how they help each other, empathy. These are sometimes referred to as employability skills, ethical and moral reasoning, an excellent communication skill, cognitive flexibility, emotional well-being, and when you are in a team, don't lose your cool. Can you make them work? An example of it, some of these like leadership skills, we can't test it through online learning. Like my grandchildren's school reopened, and just my granddaughter was tested day for yesterday on her leadership skills. Not question paper, observation. They are given a group task. The classroom is organized, and they found her taking a decision regarding the task. How do you do it? Who will do what? That is the role of a leader, a 7-year-old girl performed. Then when a team member could not perform, she tried to show how it should be done. Empathy, helping others. And the teacher sent a nice email to me telling that your grandchild, great, that there is team player. And how she developed that? My son made sure they don't play individual games in the beginning. She and my grandson were put through only soccer, basketball, and not tennis, badminton, which provoke more competition and lesser cooperation. She learned, she also plays football, last minute passing to a person to score the goal, team's player. Now, this is very important in vocational education. Most projects in the future would be team projects. Solution cannot be performed only by. Many things will be performed by robots. So therefore, in automobile engineering, what you and I now teach is how to handle robots. What robots can do, cannot do, and what you should do it. Can you design the functions of robot? So if you are in automobile engineering, student, you have to learn how to use robots in the vehicle assembly plant. Work together with a robot. Can you design the robot? Can you create design thinking? That is the idea we need to pursue. And that is how we may go ahead. And that is why we need competencies, not just skill. So we may not use it interchangeably because competency includes the knowledge, attitude, and so on. I end this answer to it. Mahatma Gandhi was the first to talk about this. Mahatma Gandhi used to say there are three aspects of learning: the head, the hand, the heart. When he used the word head, he meant cognitive learning, intellectual learning, which Benjamin S. Bloom said, cognitive learning. When he used the word heart, the second H, he meant emotional learning, socio-emotional learning, attitude, values, and so on. When he used the third H, hand, he meant psychomotor learning. And he taught the integration of three H's make you a good learner and a good citizen. That is what the NEP 2020 also says. That cognitive learning alone is not the one. Can we also have work-based learning, a basket of skills, both cognitive and non-cognitive, to perform a task? That is why we need the knowledge, skills, values, attitudes, and wholesome competencies to perform in a vocational field. So I thought I may clarify this, that when you say basket of knowledge, that is extremely important. So pursue vocationalization of education. In a BO program, there are 78 credits for general courses. If you integrate that with undergraduate program, you don't need other courses. That is taken care of. So you can focus on skills which are required by the industry. And the occupation standards, as Nidhi mentioned, is very important. So look into not only the national skills qualification framework, but also the occupation standards which are liked by the industry. I know the industry prefers the occupation standards. You may redesign your program to make it more action-oriented, more competency-based, so that the students know, the parents know, the faculty know what the students are expected to know and be able to perform and accomplish during that period. Thank you again for flagging this point. Any other point, you can ask any question you want. Vocational, non-vocational, doesn't matter, any problem.
No, sir, there aren't any questions as of now. Thank you so much for this insightful session, sir. I personally have started, I like your sessions personally because you substantiate your comments with real life examples, sir. So thank you so much for that effort. And now I request Professor Lata, Director of this Faculty Induction Orientation Program, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nidhi. Sir, thank you very much. You have taken out twice time out of your busy schedule. And so this needs a special mention. So we blocked your one more day previously, when you could not join. And today again, you have taken out time. So sincere thanks from the whole team of Faculty Induction Program. So this is a program where I do not know if you have the background of knowledge of this program per se, because we have teachers from all disciplines, and that is why we have introduction to various themes. And vocationalization also we thought is one such theme. So next time when we have refresher or rigorous courses in vocation or any other vocational or BVOC courses, we will like to invite you all over again, sir, so that we learn more from you and we are able to apply it in the college also in our BVOC department. Thank you very much, sir, once again for this very interesting session.
Before you enter, let me give one more suggestion to you.
Yes, sir.
Faculty development. What does that mean? Quite often, let me tell you one thing. Quite often we give one size fits all program. In a faculty, you can categorize them into 4 groups. Number 1, the early faculty, newly joined people, first 3 years of their career. Then after 5 years, they become what you call proficient faculty. The competence required by them would be different. Then maybe after 3 years, they become what they call expert faculty. They are experts in their field or study. Then maybe around 10 years' time, they become master faculty. They can train others and so on. Maybe in future, what we might do, like Delhi University does it, I go many programs where they invite only those who are 10 years and more experience. We can address their problem. The issue with an assistant professor is distinctly different from a professor. So maybe we can try to have customized programs for early faculty, for proficient faculty, for accomplished or expert faculty, or faculty, senior faculty, or master faculty. This is one. Second, faculty development doesn't mean only training. It is one of the important components. When they go back, your participants, they can continue faculty development through 5-6 modes. Number 1, they can invite good teachers, good faculty to demonstrate lessons. They observe lessons offered by a master faculty. This is one. Second, they can constitute virtual and in-person disciplinary groups like physics, chemistry, maths, multidisciplinary, and so on. That is also faculty development. Can they meet in the locality once a month? That is faculty development. Third, can they invite experts to give lectures to the faculty? That is also faculty development. Fourth, can they do action research? That research function is also faculty development. 5, can they participate in workshops like this and seminars where they get a chance to present their experiences and difficulties? Next, can they create a resource center where materials will be available online, audio, video, and so on? That is also faculty development. Lastly, can we give them opportunity to participate in national and international seminars and conferences? All these are faculty development approaches. It doesn't have to be only through this kind of orientation refresher program. They can do it at the local level. The remaining thing I talked about it. They can themselves invite people and observe lectures, observe best teachers' classes, and then create a resource center of materials, meet once a month, either digitally or personal-wise, participate in district, state level programs, seminars, conferences, and once in a while, even international. And some of you might even try to get opportunities for international internship. These are long term. So the faculty development program, the policy envisages multiple approaches, not just refresher induction program. So you may revisit it and then provide some guidance to the institutions your faculty have come. And can they pursue this faculty development even after they leave this training program during the next week? Thank you, Professor Lata, for giving me the chance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.